Welcome to Trail Manners, the podcast so dedicated to mountain trails and running that they broadcast out of a 78 Volkswagen bus in the mountains. Who does that? Eric and Joel are your hosts and will bring you the trail life as you may have not heard it before. You hear about everything from gear reviews, nutrition to keep you upright and moving forward, and they'll even bring guests into the bus for conversations that you won't hear anywhere else. It's time for some running adventures on a higher elevation. The old 78 Volkswagen bus is fired up and headed to the mountains. Here are your hosts for Trail Manners, proudly representing the 801 with their passion and love for the trails. Eric Manning and Joel Hatch.
Welcome to the Trail Manners Podcast, episode number 124. Today we are back with our final episode with Harrison Fluman and his Bigfoot 200 adventure. So if it's your first time listening, then thanks for coming. The Trail Manners Podcast is produced every week for enjoyment, and show notes are found at trailmanners.com. Come back often, and please feel free to add the podcast to your favorite RSS feed or iTunes. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Trail Manners. All links are in the show notes. Now let's get after it. All right, welcome back to another edition of the Trail Manners Podcast. We are back with Harrison Fluman, and as many of you know, we tracked him throughout the summer. I guess the summer, but it's been a while since you finished the Bigfoot 200, so we're finally wrapping that up, so some stuff won't be as fresh. But we're here at the Fluman household. This is Eric Manning, and we have Joel Hatch with us.
Yep.
This is Joel's first sit-in with Harrison on the Bigfoot quest.
Yes.
Right. So that's how important this one is. Mm-hmm. We got the whole team on board.
Got me out of retirement.
Joel's out of retirement on the Bigfoot. He didn't want to come to the 200s because he knew he'd sign up at the last minute and run it with you.
No.
Said I have an extra $1,000.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know what to do with this money.
So much money.
Yeah. But no, we had you on episode 113, 118, and 120. So, but they were spaced out because we kind of went silent this summer a little bit.
Sabbatical.
We had to do some things. We had to heal. Episode 124. So just to quickly recap, we talked to you about the Bigfoot 200. That's kind of the focus of it. For those that aren't aware, 206 miles, 206.5. I'm not cheating anybody. The race was held on August 10th through the 14th. 105-hour cutoff takes place. Closest cities, Cougar, Washington, and Randall, Washington. 150 people enter. Entry fees minimal. So we'll leave that there. How about that? Some of it. We won't talk about the course. We'll have you do that. But to get into the show, the course record on the course is still 55:49, and I believe that was the winning time in 2017. The women's fastest known time is 72:22, but this year was 2008, and this year, right?
2018.
That's what I say.
2008. Back 10 years.
Yeah.
2018.
You dropped. What were you doing in 2000? I don't know what I was doing in 2008.
Did I say 2008 or 2018?
You said 2008, but we can move on.
Yeah, that's like 2 shows in a row. I've botched number systems.
That's okay.
So in 2007, 2017. Oh my God. I did that one on purpose, fellas. Okay. 2017, there were 78 finishers. This year, 111 finishers. DNFs, 2017, 31. This year, 39. Winning time was 55:49, which was the course record in 2017. This year, 59:54. Almost got broken, but did not.
Right. Just by a few hours.
And it's such a consistent race because in 2017, the last place person finished in 104. That's 104 hours and 39 minutes. This year was 104 hours, 38 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's insane.
It's a long time.
And you, my friend, finished 32nd in 81:12. 81 hours. That's 81 hours.
Correct.
And 12 minutes.
Right.
So 81 hours you were on the course.
Yes.
Okay. So the winning time at the Bear 100 last week was like 20 hours-ish.
Right.
But you ran for 81 hours.
He ran for 64 hours.
I wouldn't call it running, but yeah. We can say that.
Well, let's just jump right into it. What was it all about? Let's get right after it.
Get right after it.
Do you remember what happened?
A little bit, yeah. So I don't know how much detail you want to go into, but 81 hours, like we talked about the first couple times. in theory, the goal was around 72. That obviously didn't happen.
Just 9 hours. That's
not
much.
Yeah.
It's a little over a work day.
2 naps.
Right.
It's 2 naps.
Right. No, overall, it was a great experience. I mean, I didn't really know what to expect. That was pretty evident in the many times you talked to me that I didn't quite have a plan or know what to expect, but it was a great experience. I was out there for 3 nights and 4 days, and I don't know. I mean, we can get to all the details, but it was overall incredible race, incredible organization. I can't say anything negative really about the whole experience.
So let me ask you that. So what was like the differences between like the check-in situation, right? So I saw the group photo before the race. You were front center smiling.
Well,
I liked that.
I'm 5'6".
Yeah, you weren't hiding in the back.
You kneel a lot.
But you know what?
You're that tall.
Yeah.
You get to sit with the ball.
But knowing knowing you, right? I thought you would try and hide.
Yeah, I didn't know where to take a picture.
But you were like right in the middle.
Yeah.
You were smiling. I liked it.
Holding Bigfoot's hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the check-in part, so that was the race start. Check-in part was fairly low-key, I guess you could say. I mean, the only thing really different is I've never been to a race that, takes your photo and whatnot.
Okay.
So, photo with your bib. And then I didn't realize they were taking photos to do like a before and after. So they wanted to see you that, like, when you looked fine and then when you looked...
Did you have yours?
After?
Yeah.
I never saw those.
I didn't either.
We can pull them up online.
That'd be awesome. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, for some reason.
Those are cool. I like those.
Yeah, it was a
for
cool
like
concept.
100 milers plus. That's
and
cool.
And that's, I'm trying to think what else we did. They did a medical check. Never had one of those before. I wouldn't say it was very,
With the weight?
Yeah,
blood
like
pressure?
Kind of like, are you alive? Do you know that you could die type of thing?
Yeah.
It wasn't, in depth, but I'm sure maybe for...
They weren't checking for hernias or anything like that.
They gave you full physical. It was a prostate exam, too, which was weird, I thought. But
that was just the line you were in.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, why is this line so short?
I mean, it wasn't... Yeah, I got in the wrong line.
Twice.
Right. They had me come back the next day, that morning. No, it wasn't that different as far as the check-in goes. I mean... crowd is different. Like, it's a different crowd, different vibe. I don't really know how to explain it.
I was going to say, explain how.
I didn't.
You know how there's a difference between a marathon crowd and a
Yeah.
100-mile crowd? Is it that much difference?
I think so. I mean, it's hard to explain. You can tell, maybe because it's not like mainstream for a lot of, I don't know, call it elite or
right.
type of runners. I mean, you've got a lot of more. I think. Even it's only been around for a few years, you've got more of a cult following where
right.
a lot of people do all of them and
right. support
it. So different vibe. So I mean, you could tell people are proud of that they've done them before,
as they should be.
Just a different vibe. I can't say it was good or bad, at the start, but during the race, I mean, it's awesome. It's super cool because. You're
out in the middle of nowhere by yourself for such a long time?
Incredibly long time, but you see, and it's amazing to me how it's 81 hours and how I was around basically the same people the whole time.
Right.
Like bouncing back and forth. You don't know where they're at. You don't know if they slept. I mean, you took a nap and then you catch up to them, and it's the same people and it's the same pacers. So you have so much time to kind of semi get to know people. It's kind of fun. So. But yeah, race check-in was, a normal kind of race briefing and all that stuff. So,
how was your mood, maybe anxiety level going into it compared to any other race you've gone into? Was it different for you? Was it just like, oh, it's another race, or it's like, okay, well, now it's real?
It was kind of the same. I don't think I was, nervous or anything. I would say probably the same. I mean, there wasn't I had the good fortune to have, crew and pacers, so it wasn't. That kind of gives you a sense of security, whether it's a false sense of security or not. It was
someone there.
Yeah. So I could see if it's different if it was just you out there, which you can do. They make it so that you can do it solo if you want to. I mean, they state that outright.
If you were to do it solo and drop out in the middle of the race, are they going to ferry you back to your car? How are you going to get back to your car?
They've got, we can go to the aid stations. Their aid stations phenomenal.
Right.
But to that point, I don't know exactly how they, coordinated all the drops and things like that, but the communication was great. The spot trackers were, on point, obviously.
Yeah.
And, they had tons of people at those aid stations.
Right.
So I don't think it was a huge thing.
Yeah.
If you did drop, though, just because of that course, and Brian could probably tell you better because she crewed it for most of it, you're driving like hours and hours and hours.
Right.
I mean, so it was tough to crew. So if you did drop, it would take a while to get you out of there.
Gotcha.
So when you started the race, did you have a game plan? We talked about that going into it.
Yeah.
You know, whether it was, did you segment it up like first 50 miles, first aid station? I mean, did you have
first sleep spot?
Yeah, sleep spot. How fast I want to get where? Did you have that set up before the race started?
A little bit. So as far as the first little bit went, I wanted to make sure I wanted to err on the side of going slower than fast. So once we got there, and kind of the gravity of like, oh, hey, there's 3 people that flew out here to support me.
Right.
That kind of hits you, and I didn't really think of it beforehand, and I kind of went, once that kind of sunk in, I thought, you know, the worst thing I can do is to go out too fast or do something stupid to where I'm wasting everyone's time and money.
Right.
So that kind of shifted my mind a little bit to where, yeah, I spent a lot of money to do it, but there's 3 other people that are helping me. So my mindset was to go, I thought the slower the better, and just see how. I didn't think, you know, the first night or whatever was going to be a huge deal as far as the pace. So if I went slow, it didn't really matter.
So did you go all the way through that first 24 hours?
So I think the last when I actually slept. So I believe I slept. It was surprising to me. I slept before the 100-mile mark. So I slept for the first time, I think, around mile 90.
Yeah.
And it was in the morning, and I think after that, you know, night and going, you know, getting maybe 40 minutes of sleep, I think I finished the first 100 in maybe close to 36 hours.
Okay.
So, and the first night was absolutely terrible for me, and it's funny because that's kind of what happens. It can happen with hundreds for me. So it wasn't that surprising, but the first night out of the 3 is easily the worst.
Okay.
For me. Just stomach-related stuff.
Oh, okay.
So it was hot during the day.
Yeah.
And it just kind of so happens that the first part of that course, like the first 40-some miles, is pretty exposed and kind of hot. So I got a little wrecked as far as the heat goes.
Did you have a problem not going too fast? I mean, like kind of keeping that pace down, going slow. Was that difficult for you? Because I know you're used to kind of going faster, but I mean, you get the adrenaline going.
A little bit, but I mean the heat of it and kind of just knowing I needed to go slow. I wasn't that tempted to go fast, to be honest, because I was just a little bit scared to do something stupid and screw it up on night 1.
Yeah, that could be a bad deal. When did you pick up your first pacer? Because you had how many pacers? You had 3 pacers.
3 pacers.
So you had Jeremy,
yes,
Slinsky, Debbie Farka, and your wife Brian.
Yes. So I picked up Jeremy. I want to say you could pace for 150 or so. So around mile 45, maybe 50-ish.
Wow.
So yeah, he took me through the first night. So I basically picked him up as kind of the night was going.
Right.
I think maybe around 9 o'clock or so was when I picked him up that first night.
And how long did he go with you on the first set, or did it just one push?
He went for about 100 miles. Yeah.
So 60-mile pace.
Yeah.
55-mile pace.
Yeah. So he did 2 nights. No, he did. Yeah, he did 2 nights with me. God, it blends together. Yeah. Because Debbie had me for the other night, and yeah.
Wow, 100-mile pacer. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
So you chalk that one up as
100. Gosh. Can you imagine that 12-hour interval between pacing? You'd be so tired and sore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got the weight, and then you get a pace, and then you get a weight again.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he did basically, yeah.
So did he stay, after he paced you, did he stay for the finish too?
Yeah. Yeah,
wow,
awesome. He kind of hopped in, and then we switched out with Debbie. Debbie did...
Dallas. You're pointing right. You're pointing right at me.
You said that the other time. I want to say Debbie did Dallas as well as like 40 miles.
Wow. So she did. So she picked up like what, mile 150-ish,
something like that. Yeah.
Took you 40 and then
maybe 35, 40. Then Breen did about your normal kind of
normal pacing duties.
Right. She would normally do it 100. Yeah.
That's standard.
The normal stuff.
Yeah.
So the first night you said was the hardest. Is that right?
It was.
Why was
stomach?
Stomach. And the first night we had a lot of fog, and the trail itself was pretty kind of exposed and fairly technical. So I was feeling bad, and it would have been a little kind of dangerous to push it through that sort of trail. Yeah, it was easily the worst part of it. But getting through that first night, it's weird how your body kind of adapts. And I know I'd heard about that, I think, from Ben Light, just talking to him prior to the race, that your body kind of just figures out what to do. And from that point on, from that morning on, I ate great and was pretty, other than maybe one low spot with Debbie, it worked out really well.
So when you say you ate great, did you just
Actual food.
Actual food.
Yeah.
Didn't mess
like
with gels
burgers,
and stuff.
No,
you just
burgers.
this full food.
Yeah, I mean, like burgers, like real food, quesadillas. Yeah. I mean, their aid stations were insane.
Yeah.
I mean, and you kind of have to be. There's multiple times where 20-ish, about 20 miles in between. I mean, that's
right.
Seems, and you're going that slow. It's like forever.
Yeah, it's not 4 hours in between. It's like 6 to 9.
Yeah. So I sat down, I ate. I mean, I took a ton of time at aid stations.
Right.
Just to eat and get off my feet.
That's weird because I think about like running 50s and 100s, or even pacing this last 100 is, okay, I got 5 miles next aid station. I can make that 5 miles. That's kind of how I break it up. Now it's like, all right, next one's 20. It's like I wouldn't want to leave. I'd be like, I better grab one more burger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
They had
like
all
the
kinds of
drive-in,
stuff.
right?
Yeah. It's like, oh my gosh, wow.
I'll get some tots with that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Put them in your pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Get one of those necklaces that hold the pizza slice in the front.
Exactly.
That I've seen on Amazon. So, how was that hard? Like 20 miles, was that like mentally hard to get out of an aid station, knowing it's like I'm not going to see somebody?
But you got to carry a lot more stuff too.
You got to carry a ton. And going back to that first 40 miles, I drained my pack like over and over and over again. I had to use my SteriPen a couple times because it was so. Other than that little bit, there's tons of water in the course, but I mean, I was drinking from all kinds of stuff.
Some sketchy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like without your SteriPen, you're like, yeah, this would be
brutal.
2 weeks later.
Disaster pants.
Yeah, absolutely.
Full on.
But yeah, you're carrying a ton, and it's, especially as the race goes on, like 19, 20 miles in between. It's a long time.
Yeah, it is.
I've done one race where it was 25 miles between aid stations, and and it was during the day, so it wasn't like at night.
Yeah.
But it was the worst experience I've ever had on a race. I thought I was going to die. I shot a little video of my death.
Right.
For someone to found my camera. I'm like, this is it.
Your kids, this is show this.
No. And that's normal
when I die
for this race. How many?
Right.
So
yeah, I think there's maybe 3 or 4, in between aid stations where we're almost 20 miles.
Because on this one there were 14 full aid stations, and then there was 6 sleep stations. So what's the difference between those two?
So the sleep stations just had like designated tents or kind of canopy areas where they had, they had sleeping bags. They had separate quiet area where people could sleep.
Okay.
And I think I utilized one of those, maybe 2. But yeah, they're just kind of designated to have the supplies to be able to let people sleep.
So when you pulled into those, was there ever a time when they were full?
No.
No, there's always room in the triage area.
Yep. I mean, you're so spread out. I think maybe towards, I don't know if they had issues with different segments of the pack, but you're pretty spread out.
Okay. What about, did you ever sleep
on the
not
trail?
in a sleep station? You
a couple
did?
times, maybe 3 times. It was kind of, I want to say, God, must have been night 2. Yeah, because we actually did pretty good night 2. Was the first time. So we're climbing out of an aid station, and I should have slept. And we had a pretty significant climb. We're actually feeling pretty good, and it's one of those. It's a weird thing. It's like I don't know if it's a sleep deprivation thing where you're not. It's not a calorie thing. It's not a sugar thing. It's like you're weaving side to side, and you just can't do anything. You're weaving, and it's kind of dangerous. So that's the first time I slept. It was like 15 minutes, set my phone alarm, and you wake up and you'd be surprised how awesome you feel.
Really?
Oh my God, yeah.
God, see, in my mind, I'm thinking it'd be harder to go again. I'd be like, oh.
Phil Lowry said that, right?
It was awesome.
He said just that quick nap revitalized him instantly.
So we've talked to other guests where they've scheduled sleep did you just do it when you were tired?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was
I
like,
did.
okay.
And it wasn't, I mean, the weather was good. It wasn't anything prohibitive of just taking the space blanket out and taking a nap.
And is your pacer with you? Do they just kind of hang out?
Yeah. I mean, the first time I slept, and Jeremy hadn't, actually the second time during that night, we stopped again because he was tired. So I figured I'd sleep too. And we slept because he needed to sleep, and it was fine. So it was about dawn of day after the second night is when
you and Jeremy
he finally
slept.
Yeah, we did. On a bed of pine needles.
Made a nice little cushy
It's
area.
weird though, because like as you're getting ready to actually it was as we were getting up, it's like people just run by you. They don't. I mean, it's weird. It's like this surreal thing.
It's kind of normal at that point.
Yeah,
right.
They just kind of
some runner off to the side.
Just walking by you, and you wake up and you go again.
Normal circumstances, you'd be over there poking them.
Yeah, seeing if they're okay.
Yeah.
So did you guys like nickname? You got like Big Spoon, Little Spoon, or did you guys go that far with nicknames?
So in this 200-mile culture that you're like totally into now, do you guys have nicknames?
Trail names?
Yeah. Trail names?
It's like we're through hikers, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like CB radio
we'll
names,
through
hikers.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think I have one yet, but since this will be a repeatable thing, I'm sure I'll get one eventually.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. That's a good one. So you're saying night one was the toughest. To me, it seems like the following nights, because you do a 100-miler.
Man.
Well, people like myself, we get a solid night, right? And because it's 30+ hours, but it's difficult. Like there's a time in the morning, like 2 to 5 for me. That's always tough.
Yeah.
But you're saying the second night wasn't as bad?
No, it was way better. It was
and you did the third night too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so those
third night
nights
was kind of pretty decent, but not as good as night 2.
Wow.
So.
This is why I'm intrigued by these 200s, because everything I hear, it's opposite of what I think. Right?
Yeah, it doesn't get worse. You don't degrade to the point where you can't do it. Your body actually adapts a little bit. I mean, I wasn't flying. I wasn't going super fast or anything, but your body kind of adapts.
Figures
to
it out.
Yeah.
So a lot of pictures you see, people have problems like shin splints. So they're icing shins, all doing that kind of stuff. Did you ever have, besides like normal wear and tear, did you ever have stuff that maybe you weren't used to?
Only thing I kind of compare it to maybe my first 100. My feet, I did not expect my feet to hurt that much.
Oh, okay.
Just hammered. And it wasn't because it wasn't necessarily incredibly blistered, although I had some blisters, nothing crazy, but that amount of time, I just didn't realize how ridiculously painful my feet would feel.
Well, you think 80 hours, that's 10 work shifts.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I probably could have had shoes that were a little bigger to let my feet swell,
expand into.
Which is kind of something I thought of like in my first 100 or two that I did have, but my feet did not hurt that. I've never hurt that bad.
Yeah. When did they start like really getting to you?
Probably during the second day into the third night.
So 140, 50 mile plus.
Probably about that.
Did you blister much? Your feet?
A decent amount in spots that I don't normally blister, but nothing to where it was. I would say the actual pain in my feet hurt way worse than any blister.
So the pain in your feet kind of masked the blisters. It's
yeah.
like, those are not as big a deal.
Other than that, other than my feet, it wasn't totally different than what you'd expect in the 100, at least for me. So, actually, the only other thing was because I used poles the whole time. There was probably like a 24-hour period to where I really didn't use my left arm, but my pole was kind of just there, holding.
Chicken winging it.
Yeah. So I didn't really plant the pole at all. It was just kind of a
swinging.
Yeah. So my pole holders were a little sore.
Your pole.
Yeah.
Well, because we talked about this and you weren't sure, and I guess it's with anything. I mean, you train for a 50-mile, train for a 100-mile. People say, it's time on your feet.
Yeah.
Train with what you're going to race with. But when you're talking 81 hours, I mean, and without doing that far of a race, I don't know how you would prepare for it, right?
Yeah, and I think it's and when I do another one of these, I don't know if you can prepare for it like you're saying. It's just so much time, and I wouldn't have been able to put in the time for it. And I think you just maybe wreck yourself so much that I don't know how you put it. I don't know how you put in the time without just doing a few to get your body used to it, just like you would 100.
Yeah.
Your first 100 or two, you eventually just get better at it because your body adapts.
Knows what's going on at that point a little bit.
I think it's kind of the same thing with the 200.
So you're thinking that the Triple Crown is actually a good thing for those people?
Oh my God, I don't know how people do that.
You get
my
better
body
at it.
still doesn't feel normal. Like,
and it's been almost 2 months, right?
Yeah,
close to 2 months.
I wouldn't say nothing really hurts a ton. It's just
you feel off.
Is your
sluggish.
Metabolism just funky?
Yeah, you just feel weird. And my run, I mean, I've obviously ran. It's just
I'd like to
feel
see some
slow.
medical studies on this.
Yeah.
Let's see how many people just destroy their metabolism. Their adrenal glands just trashed.
Well, because the Triple Crown was how many weeks apart is each race? Like
not enough.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Bigfoot
Is it 1 year then the next
4.
year?
Was Bigfoot the first one?
Yeah, it is.
Bigfoot.
Then Tahoe.
Okay, and then Tahoe. So we're coming up on
Tahoe's not
Moab.
that long after.
Yeah.
It's maybe a couple weeks.
Well, I think it's like
I thought it was 4.
maybe a month.
I thought it was 4 months apart for each. So
4
it's like
weeks,
Bigfoot,
4 weeks,
4
4
months, next one, 4 months,
Still,
the
I
last
mean,
one.
Not 4 months. 4
Or
weeks.
4 weeks.
Yeah, this is a time warp, huh?
Man, you are struggling with time
Sorry.
resistance.
I've been, well, I'm not going to get into it, but everybody knows where we're at.
We're time traveling.
I am back and forth.
We're
You
in
made
space.
me a drink, and I haven't had anything for so long. It's affecting me.
Right.
I think you did something
I
to
just
mine.
like
Joel,
it.
make sure I get to my
Like-
car after the show.
No, from what I heard, you're laying down in the back of his car.
That's right. I forgot about that little
body
just a
measure.
test, side test. So with the 200, how pace-wise, second night, third night, were you just strictly walking? Was there any running? Was there any jogging?
Yeah, there was running.
Okay.
Oh, and actually, I think I did my best running, which is kind of unfortunate because then I tore my quad roughly, a couple hours after, which is all time is irrelevant. Hours is like short amount of time.
See, that's why my interview is conducting. I'm kind of following your thing. So,
so after the first, roughly 36 hours of 100, I knew that the previous, pace that we talked about, 72 hour, that's not possible, obviously.
Yeah,
You're not going to double that. It's ridiculous. So I kind of just ran or hiked or whatever I felt like. But I think I ran my best probably, I want to say the morning after the third night. So I was with Debbie. We were going into mile 177. That's when I picked up Brian. So that stretch, maybe it was around mile 165, 170. Right. I probably ran really, really well. So,
wow.
So there was some still running for sure.
Okay. What about I'm sure there's people that do it, but you talk about doing another one, we'll get into that, but is that something you could do in your head without pacers?
You could. You absolutely could.
I mean, would you ever do it without pacers?
I might not do Bigfoot without pacers. Bigfoot is, the trails are incredibly, it's remote.
Okay.
Right.
And they're not like these trails. They're pretty rugged. They're, off camber. There's down trees. It's not easy going. I know you can do it. I don't know if I would. And as far as the communication goes, if you've got anybody that, other than the spot tracker,
yours actually
there's no
work
service.
for quite a while.
Yeah, after mile 177 was off.
I was like, he still hasn't gone anywhere.
Oh,
It's been
taking
7 hours.
Yeah. No one you can't communicate with anybody.
Yeah.
You're out of cell phone. So even to crew it, it's like, unless you have a really good map, it's like near impossible. So you can do it. I probably wouldn't, but
I'm sure there is, but did you see anybody that wasn't using pacer? I don't know, maybe some of the people that are in the cult / doing it for years maybe would try it.
I think actually the women's course record holder, so Van Fan, I was around her for most of the, I don't know how long, but it seemed like most of the race. I don't think she had pacers.
Okay.
Yeah, I think she did it solo.
That'd be tough, though. 20 miles between an aid station.
Just all by yourself.
All by yourself. Taking a nap all by yourself in the middle of the woods.
That's where I think you would have to make sure you nap at a station.
Yeah. Like if you had to nap at a station. Well, because we talked about it. Somebody mentioned it. Maybe it was Ben Light. When we talked to him, there's a lady near a cliff.
Yes.
She threw her poles off because she was kind of getting loopy.
She was delirious.
So it's like, that would be a safety concern, having a pacer potentially. But sleeping in the middle of the woods. I've done it before. But by yourself, and you hear, people are coming by, you're hearing noises.
Right.
That'd be kind of spooky, especially when you start to get tired and, your senses are off.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. You probably have to use the sleep stations, like you said.
Yeah, it'd be dangerous not to. So the finish in the race, what was that all about? Like the
last couple miles.
Last couple miles into the finish.
You could smell the barn.
Yeah, well, that was maybe, yeah.
You tore your quad.
Yeah.
So before the finish, you were pretty much to a walk.
It was kind of my fault. So going down into, to pick up Brian, going down into mile 177, I think, that kind of steered in my mind. It's pretty, and I'll go, this is another thing that kind of, and we were talking to people at aid stations, this happens to people. So you've got a spot tracker on, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
They make you download a GPX track on your phone, right? So you know exactly where you are.
Yeah.
Right?
You can have to use that.
You pull it up, you know exactly where you are. You know what's going on. Your mind, I tell you, over the whole 3-4 days, you don't know how far you go. You try to convince yourself, because your mind isn't there, that I know I've gone 3 miles. This is off. This map is wrong. So I kept doing that, and I get frustrated. But going into mile 177, it was super downhill. My quads were tight, and I should have kind of stretched them, or I just kind of got sloppy, and I probably took a wrong weird step and kind of pinged, and I knew something was wrong.
Right.
So that kind of sucked, because that was the point where I was actually feeling really good and running really well.
And you only had about 30 miles left,
right?
Though, so.
Roughly 30 miles to go. But the point of that whole thing was, I was getting really frustrated because, my God, I went 7 miles.
Yeah.
This map is wrong.
Right.
I got pissed. This is absolutely wrong. But it's not wrong. It's just your mind. You're all screwed up.
Your sense of space and distance.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
skewed.
I do that all the time coming to finish a race when it's 4 miles to the finish from the last aid station. You're running geez, it's been 4 miles.
Yeah,
that's
right. But it hasn't.
Same
you're
thing.
getting mad.
Same thing, but it happens over and over and over again, and you're not smart enough to say, just step back. You're wrong.
Right.
Yeah. So that happened going into there, and so I picked up Brian, and it's a big climb out of there. And obviously, right when I started to climb, I knew I was kind of screwed. So we made that big climb. It was thankfully the last maybe almost 18 miles were pretty flat, so I could kind of shuffle and run the flat stuff. So that was fortunate, but it wasn't how I envisioned finishing it, because prior to that, I actually felt really good, and I thought, because the last maybe almost a half marathon on the road to finish.
Oh,
it's kind of
legit road.
Yeah,
the black pavement with rocks.
It was.
And stuff.
It was. You had some dirt road for a little bit of it, but there's a pretty significant, maybe 9 miles on the road at the end.
Oh.
So, but in my mind, I'm before that happened, I'm oh shit, half marathon. Let's do it.
Let's crush this.
Yeah, and then it's God damn it, I
I'm
can't
gonna walk.
really run.
Oh man, I didn't know I had to finish on the road. That just makes me cringe. I didn't even run.
Yeah.
I'm just a mental
You're
block.
out now, right?
That
was on.
I was on the fence.
You were so into that point.
Now he's out.
Well, I was waiting for my loan officer to get back to me about my entry fee.
You're gonna do that second mortgage, I know.
Exactly. I'm they're do you need an RV loan? No, I need a race loan.
Do the adjustable mortgage interest rate. I think that'll work out.
Yeah, and I'm now I'm gonna have to call her and say, you know what? Don't run a hard credit check. Man, so. Coming across the finish, being your first 200, what was that like? I mean, the culmination of so much.
Really, 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 really slowly.
I saw the video.
I absolutely threw a fit. I'm a half a mile from the finish, and it was the same thing with the mileage. I'm this is wrong. I'm done. I don't have a half mile to go.
We missed the
turn.
I don't have a half mile to go, and that's only one of 2 times where I kind of lost it. The other one was on Debbie. So Jeremy, actually, it worked out for him. I was fine.
Well, if you lose at a half mile to finish, that's not bad.
So that it was just more of a frustrating thing that your quads messed up, and it's not how you thought you'd be able to finish it. But yeah, they have you go around a track, and I walked it because I'm I really have to go around this track? I mean, it'd be kind of cool, but it's cool, but there's nobody within me. The last guy finished 20 minutes before me. The other guy's 30 minutes behind. There's no race here, right? I'm not. There's no dead sprint.
At least you didn't have to do 3 laps.
That would be
to make the mileage work, right?
You have to do a full mile on the track.
That'd be awesome.
So I absolutely
so many people just quit.
This is it. Yeah, I'm done. No, so I walked around the track, but It's a weird feeling. It's an emotional thing. It was fun. It's hard to describe because you're out there for so long and everything kind of just blends together.
Like you don't even know what day it is at that point.
No idea what
like
day it
what
is.
day of the week, what number day, nothing.
Everything's just based off of mileage.
Yep, and you've been out there for that long. You just know that you've seen 3 sunrises and everything kind of blended together. It's a cool feeling. It's cool. It's fun.
You just know that I'm 206 miles away from Friday.
Yeah. It was like a
Saturday or whatever day it started. Yeah. Man, because I read a write-up you did. It's been a while because it's been 2 months almost, so I don't remember everything. But in that, I think you discussed how it was kind of the feeling you had. I'm trying to find the words because it's been so long since I read it, but it was like, I don't know, not emotional, but like the experience was something you never felt before.
No, it's hard to describe. Talking to people afterwards, I just don't know how to put it into words really, but it's one of those things where it's a feeling or like a process that you go through and that's why I would do it again. I want to feel that again.
Oh,
I want to get into that kind of that motion to where like everything, you're out there for a long time and nothing matters. Like you don't have anything to think about other than
emails,
no
hashtags,
no
bills,
Insta dicks or whatever, Instagrams,
Insta kitties,
or
Joel calls
Snapchats. But it's just cool. You have nothing to do or think about. Nothing matters other than you just moving forward. It's a cool feeling and that's why I would do it again. I want to feel that again.
Wow.
And it's a pretty poor description of what that is.
Right.
But,
is that feeling elevated because the distance, because of the effort, because of those two things combined together?
Probably. Yeah.
So you want to get back out there and try to replicate that?
I do.
Test that theory.
Yeah, and I
on the Tahoe course?
I would say I would most likely I'm not going to do it next year because I can't take another mortgage out.
You got to pay this one off first.
Yeah, I got to pay this second mortgage. Interest rates are going up.
They are.
So the plan is hopefully not this year but next year. I do Tahoe.
2020.
Yeah.
20.
Yeah. And that's more.
And then 2022 for
Moab. And then that's the Triple Crown over 6 years.
Right.
So
that's
plenty
more
of time
of a logical way to do it.
Pay it off before you buy a new one.
Yeah. That's a smart way to do it.
Yeah.
Housing market will crash, but no.
We'll be good.
And I would do Tahoe just because I would love to do Bigfoot again because I think that is more like
your course.
Your jam.
Yeah. But it's sad to come back to it. But cost-wise, I think it'd be easier to do Tahoe. Like
travel
to drive.
It's closer.
Closer.
Easier to
jump in the lake
way
right
easier
after.
to crew,
yeah.
apparently. Like you get cell phone service. Not that it matters, but
you'd
be able to. From what I've heard, basically,
Facebook Live
it's super
halfway
easy
through.
Facebook Live.
Yeah.
We live it. Yeah,
let's do that a little bit more. That'd be easy. Upload video.
It's only 2 years in the making. We'll figure out some good things.
Oh, by then we're gonna have all kinds of technology.
Drones.
The drone that follows you that show you making your pine bed.
Right.
Little spoon, big spoon. Someone can talk to you through it. Hey, wake up.
Right.
That'd be fun. That would be fun.
Talk to you through that. So with that one, after the race was over, what did you do? I mean, did you go to the Pearl Jam concert?
So Pearl Jam was before.
So Jack White.
Yeah, that's right. Jack White.
White.
For some reason, we thought Pearl Jam was after.
No.
Forever, we were like, why is he doing that? He's going to totally mess up that experience.
Yeah.
Jack White after's fine.
Yeah, and we did not go. So spoiler alert. And we could have. So I finished way late.
We could have made it.
It's my fault, I think. I'll take blame. So we had like a VRBO type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, long story short, we got there in Seattle and we emailed them before, during that day, and we couldn't get a code. We couldn't get into our room.
Oh,
so you did like an hour and a half to try to work that out. We ended up staying at a different hotel. So we would have been late to the show, yes, but we still would have gone.
Well, I went to Jack White while you were gone.
You did,
right before.
Yeah,
it was good.
Suck ass.
It was good. But I thought of you a little bit, not a lot.
Don't tell Brian. She's not happy about that one.
I'll tell her after the show.
Okay. So we missed that one.
You missed that one. So what was after the race? What was like the next week like? What was kind of that process? Were you just eating everything in sight? Or did you have a hard time sleeping, getting back to a normal pattern? What would that work out?
So first night, what was it, in Seattle? Yes, yeah. So we had 2 nights in Seattle after that. So the first night we just kind of crashed. Debbie flew out, so it was Jeremy, myself, and Brian for the second, like the last night in Seattle. So we went out and we drank heavily, so that was fun. And we flew back, and I would say that going back to work, it's just my feet were wrecked.
You.
Right.
So I kind of
still
just,
toed
it's
shoes.
kind of embarrassing. Like I'd never, kind of just.
Using the walker
Yeah.
at your young age.
Sad.
A little cart, little golf cart.
Normally I'm able to like fly under the radar where like nobody knows that I did anything. And
Right.
No one says anything, so it's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was moving pretty slow.
Like, did you guys go riding horses this weekend?
Right, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
little rodeo.
Yeah, we had a big ride. So yeah, I didn't do much, and I don't think for the month of we had Leo, so I don't think I ran a step really for. Other than, to hike a little bit with him, maybe for 4 weeks. Not because I couldn't, I just didn't feel like it.
But as far as your body goes, did you feel like you were sluggish? Did you feel
Very sluggish.
sleep patterns, or did you kind of get back to normal? Just you felt off?
Sleep patterns were okay. You just feel off. And I feel off when I run still, like today. Like I went up Malins yesterday, and it's just, I'm not normally this, like my legs don't normally feel this heavy.
It's because you're expecting to go fast again.
Maybe
you have a new pace.
That's true.
You might
Bigfoot pace.
That's
you
true.
might be locked in now.
Yeah.
The Bigfoot 200
go
pace.
back.
And it's like,
It's true.
once you
That's
go
very
Bigfoot,
true.
you don't go back.
That's what they say.
Yeah, that's what I've heard that.
Yeah.
From a few Bigfoot sites. But so
He is real.
So with saying that, did you have any weird encounters in the woods because it's so remote?
No, unfortunately not. Normal, I would say hallucinations, but normal things where your mind convinces you that something's real, it's not, or tries to. Like you'll see people, or you'll see
A tree that looks like
looks
something.
like, it's the aid station because that's a tent, and it's obviously not. So, but nothing to where like you're throwing poles off a cliff, and
Right.
nothing to where it was bad enough to where I actually believed it. you
Yeah.
know? Every time it's like, it's not real. So it wasn't too bad as far as that goes. Not too different than 100.
But overall, it sounds like your experience was more. Was it? Just, would you say it was more than you expected on a just surreal standpoint?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
You could. I don't know, because doing a 200 again. We talked about this leading up to it. You don't know what to get in for. You can talk to people that have done it, but you did that. So you talked to people. You did it yourself. Was it even close?
No, it was way better than I thought. I thought it'd be just kind of a 100 times 2, like we did the math a couple of times.
Yeah, we did
A few shows ago. But it's not. It's easily the best race experience I've ever had. It's not even close.
Wow.
And I, it wasn't really racing much. It was just.
So saying that, I know you've done a race since, right? You did. You worked. Is that
We
the
almost
same?
did, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
what's the mindset going to another race now that this bar has been set with how you felt of a race? Like, if you do another race, I'm assuming, does that concern you at all? Like, is it going to be worth running another race, or should I just adventure run? Or
I think I'll have to do other races for different reasons.
Okay.
So, and different races appeal to me for different reasons. So I'll run Buffalo Run next year, and that's just because I want to get a time.
is that
I know.
you're doing the 100?
elusive.
Yeah.
So you're doing the Buffalo
Sub 18.
Yeah.
for the Buffalo Run
I have to
100.
do that. For some reason, that is like
I know.
it
You're gonna
really
die.
bothers me.
You're gonna die trying.
I know.
It's okay.
It's like-
I admire that.
So I think it's more of doing different races for other reasons.
Gotcha.
And I know that these things exist.
Yeah.
And I know how it goes, kind of, and I know that feeling. And if I never did it again, I'd be happy because it was incredible. But I want to do it again.
So saying that, you're getting ready. You've registered for the Bigfoot 20 or the Tahoe 2020. What would you do differently training than you did this time around?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, Tahoe, I think, from what I understand, is a different course. So it's faster, so more runnable.
So you do more speed work.
Yeah, which is like not like incredibly slow, but like really slow. I would try to. I'd probably
Beat your
try.
feet up somehow.
Yeah,
Tenderize them.
I think
Walk on
that
Legos
I
and then
still
go
don't-
for a run.
Legos. Oh my
I still
gosh.
don't think I did enough like time on my feet, I guess.
Right.
You think
that's the only thing I can think of that would be...
Use your poles a little bit more going into it.
Yeah, that would have been very helpful.
What about like your pack? Did you ever have your pack race weight when you were training? Did that make a difference?
But I think that would have helped. Yeah.
So there's some small tweaks,
yeah.
but nothing that's glaring going, man, if I do this, then...
No.
Eat more cheeseburgers to get that digestive system.
Like,
Take them with you while you're training.
There you go.
Right? Wrap them up in foil.
Yeah.
Yeah, those couple of things I think would help. But I do think maybe I'm not smart when it comes to this. I think probably the more times you do it, the more your body may get used to it. I don't know, because I don't know how you're going to combat. Like, I don't have the time or the lifestyle to be able to go out for a 40-hour run.
Right.
So I don't know how your feet can totally adapt
to
other
that.
than just doing another one. But.
Well, okay. You might not like this, but you can get those little toe thingies, those little Vibram 5-finger things.
Oh my God! Yeah, you could.
I hate
the
to say
shit out of my feet.
You could do that
and just walk around normally, like go to farmers market,
you could be that
go
guy.
to the mall.
That's true.
You could totally be that
mall
guy.
walk during the winter.
Yeah,
it is born to run.
Yeah,
And
then the next step is just barefoot.
That's true. It's getting back to our roots.
And then by the time you put your Hokas on, you're like, I know I was born to run without shoes. Like that's how I was brought into the world.
To zero drop. I think.
So if you're born without shoes, then you should train without shoes.
Right.
And then you put on like the biggest stack Hoka.
That's just cheating at that point.
Yeah, you're like,
it pretty much is.
You put a pillow on your foot. Like, is this supposed to be hard?
Like, this is heaven.
Yeah.
For
that's
all 206 miles.
And that's all me and Jill like to do. We like to help people.
Right.
So we come up with these ideas for people to try. And sometimes we get feedback.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get hate mail or burning turds on our doorstep.
There's some feedback, some sort of feedback happens.
So you are planning to do another one, though?
Yes.
So you're not off them. You want to do another one?
Yeah, and I mean, the reason why next year is it's the money thing, and it's a commitment, and I don't think it's fair to really.
It is.
It's not. People can do whatever they want. People have their own lives and their own priorities. I don't think it'd be fair to do that again next year, to take all that time and monopolize
a whole week.
Well, it's a whole week, and then all the training where I'm.
Well, it's vacation time for other stuff. It's all that stuff.
And the recovery.
All the podcasts you have to get on beforehand.
Right. I mean,
that
really,
takes time.
the time was the podcasting.
Yeah.
It was almost as long as the race.
Yeah.
Well, I personally think the podcasting helped because
8 hours of podcasting.
We kept bringing questions to you and asking questions that you weren't aware yet. So I think we helped you.
Absolutely
I think we helped educate you.
Right.
Yeah. And the listener questions we had were amazing.
They were.
So I think that helped.
Surprised me how many there were. So
I still have
Eric from Ogden was a lot too, though.
Yeah, he had. Do you like big butts and cannot lie? I've got the list right in front of me.
Right.
Eric has been submitting some stuff.
Eric
to Penthouse lately.
dear Penthouse. Eric with an E.
Yeah, there's some good ones on here.
So 20. Questions. I'm hoping selfishly, I'm hoping that we've convinced Jeremy to run Tahoe, so I can help him next year.
Next year,
yeah.
So let me ask you this: would you do a 100-mile race before Tahoe in 2020? Would that be something that would help?
It might help. I mean, as much as I
leave your car at the start.
Well, you can do 150 miles on the island type of thing, so you have time on your feet.
I think it'd be easier for me to get time on my feet that could replicate Tahoe.
Yeah.
Than Bigfoot.
Okay, so without me looking at the course, what are the biggest differences between Tahoe and Bigfoot? You're already saying Bigfoot's technical. Tahoe's not as technical, not as much vert. What's the difference?
Not as much vert, not as technical. If you look at the finishing times, they're way faster for Tahoe.
Okay.
Because I think, what would they run this year? I mean, it was a big course record.
40s,
but
right?
It was just under 50 hours, wasn't it?
I think it was 48, 49.
Something insane.
Yeah.
So then you've got what was the Bigfoot record? 56.
Right. Yeah, 50.
So, and that Jason was a Kinsella.
Yeah, 55:49.
Yeah, I think he was a Trans-America type record. I forget
he was
some long-distance guy. So I just think as much as I'd like the Bigfoot style of course, and I'd rather do that. A little bit more flat and a little bit more running is probably better for me.
Right. So do you think that would change in your mindset when you're out at Tahoe? Would that make you think differently? Like, I don't enjoy this as much. It's not as pretty. Would your mind be, it's like, this course sucks, or compared to what's something your sweet spot?
I thought of that, afterwards, because after I finished, I thought I'd even do Moab. I don't even care.
Well, you were really hurt.
Yeah,
He was high as a
but,
kite.
yeah,
Going across that finish line.
not across the finish line. Maybe a couple of days later.
Yeah.
When I came across the finish line, it was like a just beaten, like sad person.
Right. Little puppy.
Yeah.
Sad.
And it sounds weird, like maybe because I wouldn't appreciate it, but I think at some point, like for so many hours, you only really notice, at least for me, notice vividly the changes in night and day.
So you only recognize you're in a 5-foot bubble.
I mean,
everything else, a 5 foot is not even there.
True.
You do see it, but it's what you really notice is the transition from night to day or day to night. So I don't think I think a sunrise at Tahoe would be pretty sweet.
Probably.
Just like a sunrise in the desert would be pretty sweet. So I don't think after a day or so it really matters. I don't want to be on a track, but
there's sunrises
on the track.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. It's hard to describe. But I think I think the terrain. Maybe I've been on the Tahoe 100 course.
Is there much road on the Tahoe 200?
I don't know.
I don't think there's
asphalt. I'll run that then.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bigfoot's got road. I'm out.
Yeah,
You're out.
Tahoe, I'll do 200.
Right.
Yeah.
2021.
2025.
Right.
That's what I'm looking at right now. I'm waiting for my retirement.
Wait till they iron all the kinks.
Yeah, once they get it worked out.
Iron all the kinks out.
Once they got it dialed in, I'll do that.
Give it 10, 15 years. They'll get
God,
it.
by 2025, there's going to be 1,000-mile stage race across states or something by then. Yeah. No, it doesn't. It's more intriguing to me than it's ever been, and I think some of it is hearing stories. Like when you're talking about how you finished, and I read your write-up on it. That was super moving. I was like, wow, that's super cool. But then I came back to reality and went, oh, wait a minute, that was 200 miles. If that was 50 miles and you got that feeling, I'm like, I'd do that tomorrow.
There.
Yeah. It's like, where do we do that?
Where do we do it this weekend? Let's do it.
Yeah, and I know they got smaller courses up there.
Yeah.
Do they? Oh, that's what I was going to ask. Do they have that? Because they have the Bigfoot 150K. Is that the same weekend?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say the first little bit I saw a couple 100Kers. So it's not a. I don't know how the course went, but there's 100K, 50 mile maybe, and then a couple shorter distances. So there's a lot of runners out there, but we didn't. We saw. I saw a few 100K people.
Right. So no 50Ks got mixed up and ran 200 miles on accident.
It's
like I took a wrong turn. Where's the
a couple rough 100Kers?
Wait. So were the 100 half marathoners and 50 milers, were they at the end of the course or the beginning of the course?
Beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, so
they're at the end. They'd be really annoying.
They got the Mount St. Helens
that loop.
Yeah, it was
around.
super cool. Man, right. Awesome.
Were you ever in fear that thing was just gonna totally annihilate you?
Smoking a little bit. Yeah. It looked cool though. I'd never been up there. It's pretty cool.
I've done some tree jumping up there in college.
That's right. I remember that story.
Smoke jumping.
Tree jumping.
Smoke jumper?
No. This is a different type.
So I was from Utah, right? And I went to college in Portland. And some buddies are like, hey, man, let's go to Mount St. Helens camping. I'm like, hell yeah, I've never been there. And I was from Utah. I'm like, let's do it. So we drove up to St. Helens. We got there that night. We, had some hoppy drink. I think it's beer is what they called it.
Alcohol.
And they're like, hey, and they said, make sure you wear long sleeve shirt and pants. And I'm like, I don't know if I own pants, but I'll find some, right? We go up there. These guys were running down the mountain, and they would jump off rocks or something and grab the top of pine trees.
It's called parkour.
That's not parkour. They called it tree jumping.
This was like the original parkour.
And you'd hit the top of this pine tree and it'd kind of bend over and then kind of stand you back up, and then you just kind of figure your way down.
Wow.
And I did that twice.
Just like running down the hill,
and then
across the log road, and then jumping on the trees right below the road.
But on top of them.
Yeah.
And I did it twice. Because
how'd that work?
Not well. So I was from Utah. We don't do that here.
No.
We don't have trees like that.
Yeah, and so the first time I did it was kind of okay. But I had tree sap everywhere.
Yeah.
The second time I did it, there was a little tree nubbin branch, and you're bear hugging these trees, and you just went right into it with the
package.
Twig and berry. Just wow.
Snap.
So I was done. That did twice, and then we had way too much to drink, trying to drink the pain away.
Right.
And we woke up the next morning as deer hunters were coming by. So it was deer hunting season, which we didn't know, and we're just right in the middle of the deer hunt, just laying down. So it was bad news.
Yeah.
So Mount St. Helens is cool. pretty cool
I didn't
spot.
have that same experience with Mount St. Helens, but similar.
You should not try it.
And next time you do it, they're going to have that section.
Right.
Of course, we got to do some tree
jumping.
Tree
That's what they call it, tree jumping.
Wow.
So, and one guy was from Wyoming. I don't know, that made a difference. He did some different
Has he
stuff.
done that before, I guess?
Yeah, he's the one that taught us how to do it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was nutty. So you're doing another one. That's what's going to be my big question.
Right.
And so that's exciting.
I spoiled that early.
So is Jeremy going to do that next year, you think?
I don't know. I think
Depends on how many tattoos he does on the side.
I feel like he's 60% sold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think between the two of you, you're going to give him enough tattoo money that he'll pay for that
so.
pretty easily.
I hope so.
That's what
I really want to do it because I just want to.
That experience on the backside. So how did we haven't talked to really your Pacers. What was did they just love it?
I mean, I
from what they've talked to you about.
They haven't sworn you off yet.
No.
They still talk to you. And
if you've talked to Jeremy before, if you know him at all, he had a previous experience with Tahoe the first year with Bob.
Yeah.
So, I think a little bit of the price thing really it gets under his skin.
So let's hit that real quick.
Yeah.
The price entry fee is $795 to $11. This was I think last year's $795 to $1,150. So it just depends on when you register.
I think it's the same what they put it on for this.
That's
year.
just entry fee. That doesn't
that's
count
not
for
travel, vacation, hotel.
Yeah.
So $800 essentially if you register early.
So with that said,
that's an iPhone.
Yes.
Isn't that sad? Yeah.
Yeah. So with that said, I think he was going into it. He wanted to find something that can point to say, hey, this is not worth this money. This is why you screwed this up. And I mean, you can talk to them that they didn't screw anything up. And the aid stations were amazing. I mean, everything is what you would expect. If you got anything less than that, you might not think it's worth that money or say why would they charge that much. But it's hard to find fault in anything they really do.
Right.
It's just really professionally done. And the amount of people that she needs to get and pay and coordinate and all the permits and things. I mean, a normal 100 now is probably almost $300.
Yeah, it depends
so
on
just say double it.
That's what people always say.
It's like,
$600 more than double, but
so,
there's a lot more that goes into that.
Yeah, I mean,
100 miler is like we talked about cutoffs 36 hours.
It's 105 hours.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different on top of that.
I think she makes it long enough to where I think she wants people to finish.
Yeah.
And it's just a long time, and you've got to have people out there the whole time.
Right.
So, with that said, as far as the Pacers go, I mean, I know that if he wants to do Tahoe afterwards, at least is even thinking about it, he obviously enjoyed
the experience.
Yeah. So the 100 miles he was out there. So.
Well, I mean, they're growing. I mean, this one sold out last year, which the year before I don't think it did. Yeah, so there's more people. I think it's selling out quicker. That's crazy. It's just a whole new realm.
I think they have like 250 or something for Tahoe.
Do they? So it's a more bigger field?
Yeah.
Is the cutoff still the same, 105 or something like that?
Yep.
But it's an quote-unquote easier course. Yeah, to say that. Well, man, that's amazing. That's I wish we would have got to you earlier just while everything was fresh, but maybe you wouldn't have remembered as much. But thanks for letting us bug you for a couple months, tracking you up to it,
Oh,
Joel's doing some math on his calculator.
Doing a little math.
Yeah. What was your math? Share it with the crowd.
That was at the kind of low end, be $160,000 if
for
you're
what?
bringing in for the race.
So, like for entry fees, you're bringing in $160K.
Yeah.
For Tahoe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe, I put it at 200 runners, not 250 or whatever she had.
Yeah, but I mean, I know she pays good chunk of volunteers and.
Oh yeah,
she has to bring in that much money.
Well, you have to. I mean, it's a job,
right?
I mean, we see through social media, obviously, but we see how much time she puts into all this stuff.
Yeah, and the aid stations are not cheap.
And and we didn't talk about course markings, but they're phenomenal. Like you have to try to get lost. And I don't know how you do that over 206 miles of marking a course.
Yeah,
and they have to do it like a week early.
Yeah, and then they have to have somebody come in and clean it up afterwards too.
Yeah. So there's a lot of work that goes into them.
Yeah.
It was a great experience.
Did you meet her? Did you meet Candace?
I talked to her afterwards.
Wait, is she tall?
She is tall.
Okay.
Well, I'm short, very short, but she's tall.
She's like what, 5'8"ish?
Yeah, I would say so probably.
Okay.
Well, she was nice.
We've had this
very nice.
Before.
Yeah.
Yep. Very nice.
We haven't met her yet.
She's at the finish, so yeah.
We want to get her on the podcast, but she just ran through like 3 other podcast interviews within the last month.
Well, she set the Wonderland record here
just recently.
Bigfoot,
and she said in December she's starting her own podcast.
Oh, wow.
She said that. Yeah, she said she's been listening to us a little bit.
Ah, I see.
No, she really did say she's starting one. I read that, and I'm like, man, everybody's doing one.
That's why she didn't want to get on your show. She didn't want to.
Well, we didn't ask her.
I got you.
So, but
you can ask her.
We want to. It's just, she's busy.
Give me maybe 4 or 5 years, because I'll run these very slowly, and eventually I'll get through them all. Maybe I can. Yeah.
Bend her ear.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just hit her up for after Moab. Hey, I know you're not busy now because you're done. No, she's got tons of races. In fact, I just looked at her race schedule. She posted today. She's got a new one for next year, permit pending, that is on my friggin' radar. It's the Leavenworth. They got 100, a 50 mile, and a 50K. Leavenworth, Washington's gorgeous. Oh, that's where she lives.
Right.
But the town's awesome.
Yeah. Looks like a little Swiss town, right?
Yeah, and I think it's in August, so that one's pending permits. But
nice.
I'm like, man. And then there's that 10-away up there that we've talked about.
That was really neat.
Man, I am getting too old too quick.
So going to move there, aren't you?
Well, it makes sense.
Right.
It's the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
I mean.
It wouldn't make sense not to.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. I mean, they've got it going on, as the kids say. What's the word? They're yoked. Did I use that right?
Yoke?
It's yoke. Is that? Dang it.
Is that out?
Are the kids still using
is that in?
Yoke, and there's another one.
I thought that was some sort of like a thing for workhorse animals.
No, it's something inside of an egg. I know that one. That's all I got.
The definition can
that's
go
yoke.
both ways.
There's what's the new one? It's coming to me. It's yoke. You guys have had to have heard it.
Does it rhyme with yoke? Dope?
No, that's our old
Starts
one.
with Y?
I don't even know now. It's
dang
it! Because
I'm not sure this is the best way to end this.
Listeners are listening and they're going, "Oh my gosh, it's on!" And they know it, and they're yelling through their speakers.
Yes,
at work.
To do with an egg, I think.
Yeah, I don't know what it. Oh, I almost had it again. It's like lit. Yoke lit.
Are you lit?
No, it's something like that though.
Yeah.
Damn
that
it.
was so lit.
I'm gonna miss it, but it's pretty cool because I'm seeing it a lot on social media.
I'm expecting that text at 3 a.m.
Right, Bent. I'm gonna get it.
Bent.
Nope, that's not it. I'm just
absolutely not that.
I'm just going through my Scrabble words right now through my head.
Right.
But yeah, thanks for letting us break down the show here and talk to you about the 200. First of all, congratulations, because not just the finish time, but finishing a race like that is. Still something I can't comprehend. Many people that I talk to, as much as I read and see about it, it doesn't process in my head. Right? It just doesn't. Especially when you see like the Bear 100 this past weekend and people not finishing that one. I know it's different races. You're going faster, blah blah blah, but still, 200 miles is unbelievable. So.
No, I appreciate it. It was fun talking to you.
Yeah. So thanks very much, and I hope everybody enjoyed the summer session here with Harrison. But that's it. This is our final show with him this go around until 2020. When he tackles the Tahoe 100. Yeah, man, good job. You're yoked.
You got 2 years off.
All right, thanks for listening to Trail Manners Podcast. This is Eric and Joel and Harrison, and we are out. Thank you for listening to Trail Manners Podcast. We'd like to thank Harrison Fluman for joining us today and all throughout this year on his way up to the Bigfoot 200. And we want to encourage everybody, that's everybody, to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Trail Manners, or swing by the website at trailmanners.com. There you can check out our store page, which is pretty sparse, or you can hit us up on the contact page, let us know what you want to see, who you want to hear, or if you would like to be on the show. Until next time, this is Eric Manning with Joel Hatch reminding you, you don't get what you wish for, you get what you work for. Now go get it.